Dangerous few days ahead as we have significant severe weather coming to the United States, and this could bring strong to violent tornadoes, hurricane force wind gusts, very large and destructive hail, flash flooding rains, and some very high winds, wildfires, and blizzard conditions. We have it all here as a multifaceted storm system is gearing up to cause chaos into the United States going into the weekend. And what we're doing here is relaying information to you that has updated this afternoon into this evening's update. So make sure to subscribe to my channel for follow along with all my detailed, accurate, and reliable weather information here on YouTube simply by pressing the subscribe button. Please press the like button, folks. The more people that are informed, because millions of people will be impacted by the storm, the better. And share this video. Press the share button. Share this video with friends, family, and anybody that you know, especially on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Let's get into the forecast. We have a dangerous day ahead tomorrow. We have a level 4 out of 5. Moderate risk of severe weather in red, covering southeast Iowa, much of Illinois, eastern Missouri, parts of Arkansas, western Tennessee, and Kentucky, and even an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, covering most of Iowa, all the way down into Mississippi, Alabama here as well. And the severe weather threat in general in the dark green and yellow even extend all the way into Minnesota, Wisconsin, as far west as Nebraska, as far east as Ohio, and as far south here as the Gulf Coast. So a large real estate impacted by the significant severe weather as we go into the day tomorrow on Friday. Now going here into Saturday, we have that moderate risk again expanded across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, enhanced all the way up there toward the Cumberland Plateau, middle and eastern Tennessee, even far southern Kentucky, seeing that, but severe weather stretching from the southern Great Lakes, Lake Erie, all the way to the Gulf Coast there on Saturday, and then the eastern seaboard as we go into Sunday from the mid-Atlantic coast all the way down into the southeast coast. So a large real estate, and this is all being controlled by a very strong, anomalously strong low pressure system that's going to be out across the high plains tomorrow morning, already down to 979 millibars as we wake up in the morning. By midday, already to 974 millibars. The lower the number, the stronger the pressure, and we're going to start to see that even deepen further up into the upper Midwest to around 975, but expanding in coverage as we go here into Saturday morning. And this is causing severe weather. Again, a large chunk of the Midwest in the orange and red need to be on alert, especially for destructive severe weather, but severe weather is possible in the dark green and yellow shaded colors as well. That extends all the way up into the upper Midwest and as far south as the Gulf Coast, really centered on the Mississippi Valley. Now, the hazards here are followed as suit. You can see we have the strong destructive wind threat here in the red and especially the magenta shaded color here where we have a hatched risk. That's where we could have some hurricane force wind gusts. Notice that takes up most of the state of Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, all into western Indiana, western Kentucky, northeast Arkansas, western Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. These are wind gusts that could be 70 to as high as 90 miles per hour. So this could cause some serious damage across a large chunk here of the heartland. And if that's not enough, we actually do have a large tornado risk that extends all the way up towards Rochester, Minnesota, all the way south here to Gulfport, Mississippi. This is a large area that could have a tornado, and the longest area here of some significant tornado stretching from southeast Iowa near the Quad Cities all the way down through St. Louis, Memphis, near Nashville, Paducah, all the way down here into Jackson, Mississippi. These areas need to be on high alert in that hatched yellow risk area for some significant longer track tornadoes here, where we could be seeing those tornadoes on the ground for a long period of time, and they could be EF2 or stronger in intensity. Now, the hail risk is also significant here, really centered on St. Louis. Could be seeing the potential for baseball-size hail with the strongest of those updrafts as we go into the day there on Friday. What's fueling this? Well, some anomalously warm air for this time of year. Believe it or not, as we go into Friday afternoon, we could be warming well into the 70s all the way up into the Midwest, even some low 80s possible in places like the Quad Cities, into portions there of Peoria, Illinois, Quincy, all the way down to St. Louis. Very warm temperatures for mid-March standards, especially for March 14th, and our dew points are going to be rising. Now, it's not going to be dew points high into the 60s like we typically see in the summer, but with such a strong area of low pressure, you really don't need a lot of those high dew points to get those very strong thunderstorms. Really only need low to mid 50 dew points, and that is exactly what happens and ahead of our dry line and cold front combo that moves in as we go into Friday evening, creating those powerful storms. Now, again, also this time of year, with the impressive wind field that this storm has and the wind shear, we don't need a lot of instability. And in fact, if you have over 1,000 joules per kilogram with this storm, that is actually pretty extreme amounts of storm energy, even for this time of year, coupled with that wind shear that's just so impressive. We're going to have a very strong mid-level jet, a low-level jet that's going to be cranking here, and a lot of turning of the winds with height, especially down here into the mid-Mississippi Valley. So watching out for that. So Friday morning, all is quiet, maybe an isolated elevated thunderstorm with some smaller hail, gustier winds to near maybe 40 miles an hour up in some cloudy ground lightning up toward Green Bay. That's a possibility as the HRRR model 18Z is showing that for Friday morning. Then as we go into midday, notice we're going to be pretty quiet where the atmosphere is capped, right? We're warm at the surface, or at least we're warming at the surface, and then we're going to be warm aloft until that dry line breaches that cap, and then we're going to start to see initiation somewhere back into Iowa and Missouri near Kansas City, for example, Des Moines and Omaha, and those storms are going to unzip down the dry line, and those could produce some widespread wind damage. These are the storms that could produce that derecho producing complex, typically what you see in the summer with those big windstorms, 70 to 90 mile per hour winds on the leading edge here of this gust front. We're also going to be seeing the potential of some hailstones up to baseball size, especially with the stronger cells on the southern end of this line down towards St. Louis. And notice how some of those are broken up. We have to watch out for some tornadoes. A couple of those could be strong. Now, as we go deeper into the night, this is going to be outrunning a lot of the moisture and instability. So this line will expected to weaken, especially over some cooler waters of Lake Michigan. I expect that line to weaken before it moves really into Michigan. But some severe weather will be possible in western lower Michigan and Indiana and Ohio as we go into the overnight hours. This is a parameter space called the significant tornado parameter, and the higher the value, the higher the chance for tornadoes, and thus the higher the chance for strong tornadoes. That could be those EF2s or stronger. Notice Friday afternoon as initiation, we're seeing a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s on the map. Now that's, where there's a number, there's a risk, but then look at the number increase as we go into the evening hours there on Friday, especially for southeast Missouri, into St. Louis, Cape Girardeau down here, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Those areas increased to around 9 out of 10 or so, and that means some stronger tornadoes will be possible. That could be on the ground for a long period of time. If we get a stronger supercell that's dominant down here into the open warm sector, that is something to watch as we go even after dark. So something to keep an eye on. Make sure to have a weather radio handy with you as we go through the nighttime hours there on Friday. Here is a better depiction of those storms. Again, we got the line further north, but more isolated or scattered activity with supercells further south, as the cap is going to be a little bit stronger, but less forcing down here to unveil that cap, right? Breach that cap. It's going to be a little bit tougher down further to the south. But if that can happen, if the cap can be overcome, we could be seeing some very strong tornadoes down here into the mid-Mississippi Valley there on Friday. Then we march east as we go into Saturday. This is setting up to be the worst day out of all three between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday's looking to be potentially a high-risk day for severe weather, and I am thinking the Storm Prediction Center will probably go high risk with this either on day 2, which would be extremely rare, or day 1, once we get to the day there on Saturday. Right now, there's a moderate risk, level 4 out of 5, from Louisiana into south central Mississippi and Alabama. This covers metropolitan areas such as Jackson, Hattiesburg, Lauren, the Laurel area, Meridian, getting in towards Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, just west of Montgomery, and then back there north of New Orleans. So some bigger cities in there. We're going to be keeping an eye on that. But severe weather could extend north. Nashville, Chattanooga, Atlanta, into the Knoxville region, all the way up there towards, say, Cincinnati, for example, Pikeville, into Charleston, maybe even Toledo. So we have a lot of areas impacted there on Saturday, and significant severe weather. Biggest concern going to be those strong, violent, long-track tornadoes. I think there could be a threat of EF3 tornadoes or greater across, especially this magenta shaded color, with significant severe across Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. This could also expand in coming days. Now, we are seeing this because, again, warm temperatures are ruling the roost down here. We're going to see a lot of 70s and 80s during the afternoon, and a lot more rich dew points, a lot more rich low-level moisture down here than we see in the upper Midwest there on Friday. which is going to give us a better tornado environment down here into Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, those areas into the 60s with dew points. And that's a lot of storm energy, a lot more storm energy. Thermodynamic environment is much stronger down here as well. Wind shear is also overlapping. And look at this. Again, this is the NAM 3KM, and this is one model run, but it is showing 26, yes, 26 out of 10 on the scale there in Mississippi, western Alabama. So strong to violent, long track tornadoes. We're talking about EF2 to EF5 strength tornadoes literally possible across this region. Very big hail. Another day where we could see baseball, softball size hail in this environment, and the potential for destructive winds, again, 70 to 90 miles an hour. So another day to pay attention, and that could be another high risk day. We already starting with some thunderstorms Saturday morning. How these storms evolve will depict where the highest threat for severe weather will be Saturday afternoon. And honestly, I think even if we have storms Saturday morning, and maybe some rain, cooled air, that might not be enough to even offset the severe weather threat really in the south. It might push it a little further south and not be as widespread, but I think there's definitely a chance for a high-risk environment here for some strong to violent long-track tornadoes, destructive hail, and destructive wind gusts as we go into Saturday afternoon and into Saturday evening before the storms march east and weaken once they get into the western Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida as we lose the daytime heating and we lose a little bit here of that energy. As we go into Sunday, this is March 16th. Slight risk area extending all the way up into eastern and central Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, all the way south to Florida. We're going to be keeping an eye on Sunday as well. Sunday could have more probably scattered thunderstorm activity. Strongest storms will be in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida with the stronger instability and energy down there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some strong gusty winds up to 60 miles an hour, some quarter-size hail, or an isolated tornado or two, at least briefly across portions of Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and the Poconos region there, and over into Delaware, New Jersey, keeping an eye on that. Those storms will have a tendency to move through during the afternoon before moving away late Sunday night and finally putting to bed our significant severe weather outbreak for the weekend. And this is also going to be a storm to produce some very heavy rain, flooding rain possible, 2 to 4 inches here of rain potentially across portions of Tennessee into Kentucky there near the Ohio River in southern Indiana and southern Ohio, all the way back down here into Mississippi, Alabama, North Georgia. Could be seeing 2 to 4 inches of rain. And we already have had a lot of events like this season. So, runoff of water, ponding of water on the roadways, low-lying areas such as ditches, streams, and stuff like that. Tributary rivers, going to be something to watch here as we go through the day there on Saturday, but really through the weekend. And then on the cold side, yes, we're going to be seeing some wintry weather as well. Big blizzard potentially for western Minnesota with several inches of snow, very high winds here, causing near whiteout conditions. An ice storm further to the north into Canada will be possible. But for our friends up here in the upper Midwest and the northern plains, into the western portions of Minnesota and eastern South Dakota, a stripe of 6 to 12 inches of snow will be possible here, more of that 10 to 1 ratio snow, and that could be blowing around quite a bit. Look at our strong winds. We could be seeing winds upwards to 65 to even 90 miles an hour across the southern plains, ripping across portions of New Mexico, the Texas Panhandle, North Texas, Oklahoma, most of the state there, into eastern portions of Kansas and Missouri, and those damaging winds could extend all the way up there to 60 miles an hour, all the way up to Chicago, the Windy City, into Grand Rapids, there into Toledo, and even over there toward Dayton, Ohio as well. Maybe some more heavier winds across the higher elevations of the Appalachians in the east as well. So make sure to batten down the hatches, folks. We're going to start to see some strong winds and wildfire risk down there in New Mexico and Texas as well through the weekend. A multifaceted, dangerous storm system is creeping up on our area into the United States as we go into the weekend. It is here as soon as tomorrow. So make sure that you have all the things taken care of. You have a weather radio handy. Make sure it's turned on. You have a lot of ways to receive alerts, whether it's on TV, anybody from YouTube, or if it's on your smartphone giving you an alert from a weather app, or it's your weather radio. Make sure to have multiple ways to receive watches and warnings here for severe weather this weekend, as dangerous severe weather is in the cards for a large chunk of real estate, millions of people impacted, which is why you should subscribe to my channel to stay ahead of all the storms with reliable and accurate weather information here on my channel. Like the video, very important. The more likes we get, the more thumbs up on my video, the more people this is pushed out to that are aware of severe weather. We want to help keep them safe. and ahead of the storm as well. And also share this video, press the share button to share this with as many people as you can, friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. That's all the weather I got for you today. We'll have another video forecast likely out for you tomorrow to update you on the severe weather situation. Thank you all for watching and have a wonderful, safe rest of your Thursday out there.